Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are tackling a really provocative question, one that's probably crossed your mind as you've used tools like ChatGPT. Are these incredible AI tools, the ones designed to make us smarter and more efficient, actually doing the exact opposite? So let's just dive right in. The source material we're looking at today puts forward a pretty bold claim. The more we rely on AI, the less we might actually be using our own brains. It's an uncomfortable thought, right? Especially because for many of us, these tools are already a part of our daily lives. I mean, just think about it for a second. 10, maybe 15 years ago, how many phone numbers did you have memorized? Your best friends, your house, your parents? Now, maybe just your own? And what about getting around town? We used to build these mental maps. Now, a lot of us just follow the little blue dot on the screen. These are just small examples, but they point to a much, much bigger shift. And look, this isn't just some vague feeling that we all have. Scientists have actually started to put some hard data behind this idea. And honestly, what they're finding is, well, it's a little startling. Okay, first up, let's talk about a study from the MIT Media Lab. They got a group of people together and gave them a simple task, write an essay. But they split them into 3 groups. One group got to use ChatGPT, another could only use Google, and the last group, well, they had to do it the old-fashioned way, with no tools at all. So this is where it gets absolutely fascinating. The researchers hooked everyone up to brain scanners, and what they saw was, wow. The brains of the people using ChatGPT were just quiet. They showed way less activity. It's like their minds had completely outsourced the job of thinking. It got so extreme that by the end, some of them couldn't even remember what they had written in their own essays. And okay, you might think, well, that's just a lab experiment, but it's happening out in the real world too. A big study from Microsoft and Carnegie Mellon looked at over 300 knowledge workers, people who think for a living, and they found the exact same pattern. Here's the crucial thing they discovered. The workers' focus completely changed. Instead of wrestling with the what of a problem, the actual hard thinking part, they jumped straight to the how. As in, how can I get the AI to do this for me? Their skills in critical thinking and independent problem solving literally started to get weaker. What both of these studies are really describing is a phenomenon that researchers have a name for: cognitive offloading. It sounds complicated, but it's a really simple idea. It's the act of handing over our mental heavy lifting to an external tool, like AI. Now, I know what you might be thinking at this point. Hang on a second. Haven't we heard this story before? I mean, isn't this the same kind of panic that happens every time some shiny new technology comes along? And you know what? That is a fantastic point. Because thousands of years ago, the great philosopher Socrates was worried about the exact same thing with the invention of writing. He thought it would make us forgetful, that we'd have, in his words, the show of wisdom without the reality. Sound familiar? It's this recurring pattern, right? From writing all the way to the 1970s when teachers were absolutely convinced that pocket calculators would mean no one would ever learn how to do math again. We've been skeptical of new tools for a long, long time. But here is the major twist. The source material we're looking at argues that this time it actually is different, that tools like AI and even Google Maps pose a fundamentally new kind of challenge to our brains. It all starts with something called the Google effect. Scientists have observed that our brains have gotten really smart, maybe a little too smart. They've learned that if a piece of information is easy to look up, there's no point in wasting energy to memorize it. So instead of storing the fact, it just remembers where to find it. But according to these researchers, the real risk isn't about forgetting facts, it's about navigation. See, the act of finding your way around is one of the most complex things you can ask your brain to do. It's a massive workout for a really important part of your brain called the hippocampus. And to understand just how big of a workout it is, check this out. There was this amazing study done on London taxi drivers. Before GPS, to get a license, they had to pass this insane test called the Knowledge. It meant they had to memorize a mind-boggling 25,000 different city streets. So scientists scanned their brains, and the results were just stunning. The part of the brain we just talked about, the hippocampus, was physically larger and more developed in the taxi drivers than in the average person. Their brains had literally changed shape to meet the demand. Their mental muscle grew because they used it. And here is why that matters so much. The hippocampus isn't just your internal GPS, it's also critical for your memory of past events, your own life story. It's essential for imagining the future and for connecting different ideas to see the big picture. The fear is that when we offload navigation to our phones, we're not just letting our sense of direction get rusty, we're neglecting a vital part of our brain that does so much more. So this brings us to the big question, right? The core dilemma. We know AI makes our lives easier, and that's great. But our brains, just like our bodies, actually need challenges to stay strong and healthy. It turns out our brains are hardwired to be, well, kind of lazy. Scientists even have a name for it. They call us cognitive misers. Your brain uses a huge amount of your body's energy, so it's always looking for shortcuts. And if a reliable tool like AI can do the thinking for it, your brain is more than happy to take a break. That means we have to consciously fight against this natural instinct to take the easy path. And the solution proposed in our source material is to think about mental fitness in the exact same way we think about physical fitness. We go to the gym to counteract a sedentary life, right? Well, the argument is we might need a mental gym to counteract all this cognitive convenience. So, what does a mental workout even look like? Well, it's about deliberately practicing the very skills that AI makes it easy to forget. Little things, like doing simple math in your head instead of grabbing a calculator, trying to memorize your grocery list, or just focusing on one task without getting distracted. Look, the key takeaway here is not to ditch AI altogether. That's not realistic. It's about being intentional. It's about using AI as an incredible tool without letting it become a crutch. The goal is to deliberately seek out a little bit of mental friction in your day, small challenges that keep your mind sharp. In the end, this isn't about humans versus machines. It's about partnership. The goal isn't to choose between AI's convenience and our own intelligence. It's about figuring out how to have the best of both worlds. So it all comes down to that simple but really powerful analogy. Your brain is a muscle. AI offers us this incredible convenience, but with that convenience comes a new kind of responsibility, the responsibility to keep our own minds in shape. So the question for all of us is, what's our workout plan going to be?